Just a few more questions before we go. Yeah.
Cool.
Literally. By the way, once again, Joey, man, this has been worthwhile. Like, I'm proper enjoying this conversation. You know when you talk to certain people and you feel like you can talk to them for hours and hours.
Yeah, we could keep going, man.
Honestly, bro, this is, oh my god, man. So yeah, let me put back myself together. So like through like your DJing journey, yeah. What is one of like what is the biggest lesson like you've taken from your journey? Throughout your old, your DJing journey. What's the biggest lesson you've taken from your journey?
It's an easy one now. I would probably in other interviews I would have gave you millions of different answers. It would have been related to mixing or sound choice or track selection. How you perform in front of the crowd. It's none of that stuff now. It's balance. It's balance in your life. It's knowing that this isn't everything. That everything's fleeting. I said before, like nothing's permanent in life. Like your career and the job you do. It's almost like you ride these crests of waves, where your popularity goes big. But the thing is, that wave, it can't continue. Even if it's a tsunami, like it's going to hit the beach at some point. And it's all going to come crashing down. I don't care who you are. Like you talked about the football analogy. I'm a big football fan. You might say I'm not because I'm a Celtic supporter, but it's barely football, but for my sins. But there's that, and you look at some of the footballers. For instance, George Best is a classic example. One of the the best players ever to grace the game, and I think it was 18 or 21 or something when they won a European Cup. And what I've read his book and countless documentaries about him, because when he was sat I was going to say backstage, when he was sat in the dressing room after winning the European Cup with Manchester United, he's like barely about his teens if he was, and he was sitting there thinking, that's it, there's nowhere else to go. And literally his career, although it took a long time for him to for it all to come slide, that was the start of the downhill spiral of his career at such a young age, because you hit the peak. His wave had already hit the beach, man, at that age. And he had nothing else he could do, like nothing. So he only knew football. There wasn't a big thing of pundits at the time. You see, and like footballers getting into management and stuff like that. He was like one of those like once in a lifetime footballers who are like so gifted. You look at another example at Maradona, like how his life spiraled into chaos. He was turning up for training at Napoli. He'd just been out the night. I have read his book as well, phenomenal. Yeah. And he's out with the mafia doing cocaine at till 8 in the morning. And he's turning up for training out his face and then playing a match to keep your face in the. That guy is a maniac. But then again, it's like when you hit so many highs, it's like where does it go? That I say that wave's got to hit the beach at some point. So. It's just like understanding that there's balance to life. Like you have to have something else going on. Even just like mentioned about the football before. Like I'm last week I went up to Scotland to watch Celtic playing in the Champions League. I used to have a season ticket when I lived in Scotland, and for years I stopped following the football altogether. And it was a huge part of my life. I played football, and I think part of it, I played football and I broke my back playing football, fractured my spine, and that coupled with my music career and everything else, I kind of just fell out of love with the game a bit. I think watching it brought back bad memories, and like I want to play it, and I can't. I'm like scared to. Like I'm pretty much fully healed. I still get back problems, but I'm like I don't want to risk any, especially the older I get, serious injuries, terrifying.
Do you think it's a mental?
100%, yeah, 100% mental thing, but mental barrier. But that, like going up to Scotland and seeing my team play again, and like forgetting about that experience, like that's again being part of something like the rave scene was, like that's my people, if you go to the match you're just like, this is man, we all think the same thing, we all love that, the bunch of guys in that green and white shirt out there, no matter what your team you support, you might hate Celtic if you do, whatever. but we'll beat you all at school. That feeling of just being amongst all that, it's like it takes me back to a real special point in my life, like
special crowd.
And having that balance, and I'm hitting up friends this week. I'm saying like, but we've been chatting on the phone like regularly and text. I'm like saying to them like, again, nothing's better than face to face. I'm saying a couple of them like, we've no actually sat and hung out for a bit. Let's organise something for next week. I'm finishing up at the uni for the year, or the college for the year. this week, and I'm like, let's we've got a few weeks to Christmas, let's organise something, so that is my biggest bit of advice to anybody, no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be, you could be watching this and you'd be like, I don't care about DJing, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever it is your focus in life for being successful, make sure there's balance. So if you don't have balance and have other things that you enjoy, whether it's like going to a comedy club, watching the football, hanging out with friends, socialising is so important, just being around other people that give a shit about you, that bring you up and don't bring you down, that's the biggest thing I think, and the best lesson that I could impart to anybody.
Just before my last question here, I want to say, obviously, big up to Celtic Football Club. Big up Celtic Football Club. Obviously, as a Manchester United supporter, over the years, we've had some good games, innit? At your ground, at our ground. But obviously, everybody knows this as well. Like, Celtic, when it comes, especially to Champions League nights, like, the stadium, you got, like, Celtic home stadium is special. The atmosphere. Crazy. I've seen some of my favourite games, especially when you guys played Barcelona.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That was absolutely amazing. Just on a football one quickly, before asking my last question, it's like, over the years, I'm not sure if you heard that, obviously a lot of people, from England who obviously follow the Premiership, a lot of people have said, Celtic, because the Scottish League is boring because it's either Celtic or Rangers. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, a good few years ago, like, there's this thing that happened. I'm not sure how official it was, but I don't know if you remember it, where there was some talks if it's for Rangers, for Rangers and
times over the years.
For Rangers and Celtic to see if they can join the Premiership. Like, as a Celtic fan, like, in future, if that could get made or whatever, like, what are your thoughts on that? Would you be happy for Celtic and Rangers to join the Premiership, or?
Yeah, I think it's the only logical step. It's the only logical step. They would bring so much to the game, and I think them going straight into the Premiership is ludicrous, because they'd have to work their way up. But sticking them in one of the lower divisions, because of the crowds that we bring and the potential. I mean, we're in the Champions League. That's why we can attract some good players, and we've done pretty well this season so far. There's a good chance of us getting through into the next round. I was up at the ground last week, and we drew one each, but we've had some tough games, and the thing is, in the Champions League, like, I remember Nakamura knocking a free kick in from about 1,000 yards against Man United, and
as soon as you said that name, I
go, same Winston, man. It's like, oh. Like, so, I mean, I was a season ticket holder the year we got to the UEFA Cup final, when we had Henrik Larsson playing and Chris Sutton, and we beat everybody. We beat Liverpool, we beat all the big English teams like Barcelona, all the big teams in Europe. Like, throughout those few seasons, we hammered everybody. Anybody that came to Celtic Park, and you said about it yourself, the atmosphere there on, especially on the European nights, it's electric. I mean, Celtic Rangers games are something else, but the European nights, there's something about football in the evening as well.
Oh man,
it's something about that in there. It's a different kind of atmosphere. And midweek,
game.
Yeah, it's really, really special, and I was so happy that I got to go up. I've been to, that's I think my second or third game this season. It's something that I'd neglected for years. So being part of the Premiership or being part of English football, it just makes sense. And I know some teams are like, there's never been precedent for it, but there has. There's Welsh teams that play in the English League.
Yeah.
There's
Swansea. That's Swansea.
No, it's just no.
Remember, basically, like Swansea. In the past, quite a lot of teams like from Wales or whatever.
There's also there's Berwick Rangers who play I can't remember, that's in the English League, I think it is. So there is a Scottish team that, as vice versa, is either an English team playing in the Scottish League or vice versa, and there's also Welsh teams. So that argument, I think, is null and void. And I think as things progress and we see things like the way the new European setup is, with that bigger, I think there's more chance of maybe something like that happen. Maybe breakaway leagues. You've seen that. I watched that documentary recently about the European Super League that they tried to create. And I think that UEFA making these changes to the Champions League is trying to stop that thing happening. That's the only reason I think they've done that, is to stop teams breaking away and storming their own league. They're actually beginner league. It makes sense to me anyway, and you're giving teams like Celtic a chance to get through, and you're watching teams like Real Madrid getting pumped. It's great.
This Champions League, again, for me, do you understand the format? Because for me, I still don't really get it. It's so confusing, so many different teams. Like, for me, it's so confusing. But even quickly going back to Celtic, I feel like obviously other teams like Aberdeen and all of these other teams in the Scottish League, I feel like they should stay there. But for Rangers and Celtic, both of those top teams, I feel like it would make a lot more sense for them to come in the Premiership. And you said something very interesting, that you feel like, for whatever reason, you feel like they shouldn't get put into the Premiership straight away. Yeah. That's very interesting, because for me, I feel like they're big enough clubs, and with their history, I feel like by default they deserve to just get in the Premiership. But I feel like, what about, would you say like they should, if this comes reality or whatever speaking, what division do you think they should start in? Like the Championship?
Yeah, I mean, put us wherever you want. Put us wherever you want. You put us in Division 4. 4 years later, we'll be top of the Premiership. Yeah. The thing about Celtic and Rangers, like the both, Rangers are mortal enemies, as you know. Yeah. But like both clubs are so big, and the support is so big that they will continue going no matter where we are. And once you start getting the football money of English games, even the Championship compared to the Scottish League, the money that they get, like once Celtic and Rangers started getting that type of money, that type of TV money, what is going to happen is they're going to easily be able to attract bigger players. This is the problem that we have at the moment, is like we can get great players in, but then they eventually leave. You look at who's the best defender right in the world right now, probably
Virgil van Dijk.
Exactly, Celtic player. Who's one of the best, most entertaining teams in the league at the minute? Tottenham. Who's their manager? Ange used to be Celtic's manager. I'm sure they play some ropey football sometimes, but so did Celtic. But they're the most entertaining team to watch. Yeah. Like there's so many amazing players that have come out of Celtic. And Matt O'Reilly, our best player, just went to Brighton. On his opening game, he scored against, I think it was Man City. I can't remember who, but so I think it was Man City. So there's it's been that's the only thing. It's been a bit of a breeding ground for players to they see it as a stepping point to get into the Premiership, which is it's difficult for us. I hate saying us because I'm not them. It's like when people say when we fought in the war, like they didn't fight in any war, mate. Like just because you're British doesn't mean you were in the war. Just because I support Celtic doesn't mean that it's us. But you know what I mean. Anyway. I just think
it'll make more sense, man.
Yeah, I think it'd make more sense. It would bring because like really quickly, if we got the Premiership money, we'd bring in, because people would want to, other teams would want to play at Parkhead. Other teams. You ask any, you see it so many times. There's so many players, but huge players across the world, from your Messi's to Ronaldo's to everybody, who say that some of the best games they've ever played atmosphere-wise has been at Celtic Park on a European night.
I've heard that
even when they've got beaten.
Yeah, I've heard.
So imagine being a Premiership player and getting to play against that like every other week. Like it's no brainer. Like as a footballer, as a DJ, as somebody that's an entertainer in front of crowds, you want to be in the biggest and best places on the regular. And Celtic Park's one of them, regardless what you think of my team. So, and it's my team. I play for.
Nah, I agree. Like Celtic, obviously, it's a big club, but even if we're talking about atmosphere, the stadium. That's why even for me, like I said earlier, it's a no-brainer. Like they should, Celtic and Rangers, they should come in the Premiership, because I could actually, by default, picture it like week in, week out, watching other Premiership teams going to. Guys, if anyone listening, I don't know, you get me. But before we go, I just want to say last one that you see, like in terms of like your career, your DJing career, like obviously with music, it's different from sports. Meaning, obviously, sports you can't do it when your body gets to a certain age, and obviously after a while it's like your body can't continue. Like again, I hope obviously it's not anytime soon with my last question, but just in terms of like like retirement and actually focusing on other things within your life, like has that started creeping up in your mind or not yet? In terms of like when you think maybe after a few years, or you start to kind of like think about it, maybe I don't know, like just retirement in general, has that crossed your mind, or you're still just going for it?
It's a good question. I have kind of alluded to some of it before. Like there has been points where beginning this year I was like, maybe I should just knock this on the head. Things are going well with the teaching, and it was just like one little hurdle that made me think, I just can't be dealing with all the bullshit anymore. Like I'm getting too kind of old for it, and how many tours do I want to continue doing? But as long as I kind of keep breaking new territory and doing things that I've never done before, then it's still exciting to me, and I'm physically be able to do it, then I guess I'm going to continue to do it. But like I've nearly quit a million times, like COVID for instance, when that happened, like a plan I always had was to when I was like finishing, thinking about, you talk about footballers at George Best, like what did they do after winning the European Cup? They had nothing else to do. I was thinking ahead. I'm like, I'm not going to be playing for Man United for the rest of my life. You know, there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to bow out of this. And I always thought, like, I did, you know, do like music production for other artists, and you know, I used to tie in teaching to that, you know, one-on-one sessions, and then I started working for the Lisa Lash's School of Music. You know, got my teacher qualifications and stuff like that, and teaching bigger groups of people. And when before the pandemic came, I had a plan of doing my own kind of online academy, or doing some sort of school myself, or maybe teaching at university, getting more into that side of things. Because I thought I always enjoyed the giving back, and the even from when I run my record label and had everybody involved, I tried to give everybody all the information that I had, teach them everything I know, because then if I do that, then for me to like stay ahead of the curve, I need to keep learning more stuff, and then I get better, they get better, the music gets better, nobody loses. But yeah, I thought at this stage, especially when the pandemic was coming around, I'm like, this plan I had, which was maybe going to be 5 or 10 years down the line, I was like, I have to enact it now. So I created you know, a website, hustlemusic.pro, where I was doing you know, online tuition, sample packs, sound banks, all that kind of thing. And it was a different facet to my business that me and my manager would run. And you know, although that still kind of trickles along, and I do you know, write music for a lot of other artists and stuff like that, I feel like I've kept that moment when the pandemic came, I was able to set up my business in a way that I had enough money coming in from just the music side, and the music, the teaching, the ghost production, all that kind of stuff, where it was just studio based, that I didn't need the gigs anymore. So I'm becoming even more, trying to get more into an even more comfortable place, you know, with what I'm doing with the teaching and stuff like that as well, where it's not that I want to stop gigging, but I want to be really I feel like I've got the right. I've been doing this long enough to be picky. You know, like I don't have to go out every weekend, and financially I don't, and physically it can't be arsed. Because when I go on stage, I want to give it my all. It's like, you know, Mike Tyson just came out and fought again recently, didn't he? And it's like, man, what's he doing for us? But you know, I think he might have held back a little bit, but yeah. You know, irrespective of that,
I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, I know. It was like, yeah, pulling out some old man to fight a kid, you know.
You're fighting your granddad.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I just hope I've always said to my missus, I'm like, you know, tell me when I get to that stage. I was like, if I walk on stage and I'm dancing like someone's uncle at a wedding, I'm like, just, you got my permission to just get a big walking stick and grab me around the neck and hook me off here, man, you know what I mean? As soon as that happens, then yeah, I think it's maybe time to be done. But I'm watching DJs like going into their 50s and 60s, and they're playing these retro events, you know, where they're still playing like more old school, because there'll be a point when I'll probably, you know, maybe stop with the writing music for my own performance side of things. But one thing I do enjoy is like I'm writing music for a lot of other acts and different genres as well, you know, make everything from trance, techno, house, loads of different genres for other artists. And I really enjoyed that side, and like, you know, advising them in their careers, and you know, and working with them on the music and seeing them getting gigs, and that side keeps me, you know, active in the studio. Plus it also like keeps me motivated, because it's a different way of working. I'm working to a brief. Here's what I want the track to sound like, and it's a different genre, and I'm like, can I make that? Can I create that? Like, let's try and fit the client's needs. And it's a different type of challenge from just going in like, how can I make something cool? But then also it frees all these things that I've kind of worked on throughout my career, have now given me the time and space and the financial freedom to actually sit and be really experimental again, go back to the place where I used to be when I first quit my job, and I'm just like, all I'm doing is waking up each day and like working on, and just like, so I'm started writing some music again, just for me only. I'll still write stuff for the clubs, I'll still write stuff for the label, make stuff for my clients that they require. But you know, I'm now able to like really just sit and work on stuff for myself again, and that's been lovely to do that, because now I've got all these tools in my arsenal as a producer. I feel like I can really realise all the ideas that I had in my head for all these years. Now I can actually put them into, you know, fruition and make them a reality, which is really cool.
It's a blessing. And I think, Joey, bro, I think it's only right to conclude this conversation with, you know, to just speak a little bit about, you know, Lisa Lashes and how we met. I just wanted to take this all full circle. You know what I mean, bro? So, you know, could you let the people know, like, what is, you know, Lisa Lashes, like, what it actually does, what the program's designed to do, and whatever you want to tell the people how we met, you know?
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, we met through one of the programs that the school does. So Lisa Lashes, if you don't know her, is a very famous DJ who kind of broke the mold in terms of women's DJing. She started the school with our business partner Deborah, who two amazing women who came up with an idea to start a music school basically for DJs, producers. To do kind of courses that were based around, making it in the industry, but not just working with academics, working with people that were actually were not just had done something in the industry, but were currently active, and so you're getting real world advice from people that are actually a success story in their field. And when it started, I think it was in about 2017, Lisa actually got in touch with me, and I'd never spoke to her before. I was a big fan of her work and I'd seen her DJ like many times, and bought records and stuff like that. But she just got in touch because the studio that I had used to belong to the Tidy Boys, which is a big hard house act like Lisa was, and we'd bought it off them. So I was like working in there, and she got in touch with them saying, have you got a studio that we could use for the school? And they were like, no, we sold it to Joey Riot. So she got in touch with me. She was like, we're looking for a place where we can have this school. I'm like, my studio's not big enough, it's not for a school. Yeah. Like I can have a few. It was a big old spot, but not for what they were talking about. But I was like, well, whatever you're doing, it sounds like exciting. I want to get involved. So yeah, I was involved in that quite early on. And the course originally was, I'm trying to remember how many weeks, it was between 12 and 16 weeks, and it was kind of catered more to people that were into hard dance and stuff like that. So people were coming along because of who the tutors were. We had people like BK, Rob Tessera, Future Points, MC WizKid came on board, it was myself, some house acts as well. There was like loads of different people that were active in the industry and had a lot to give in terms of, we were teaching them DJing, production, social media, event management, and what happened down the line. We had various different courses we've done ones for specific. We've done them in Northampton, we've done them in Manchester, we've done things with kids who'd been like excluded from school. We've done courses from it was called Serve, which was people that were young guys in Northampton that were in trouble with the law, and it was like the kind of last chance saloon. They were like, go up to court and they're like, you either do this course or you're going down. So we would like have them on, and that was interesting, man. So some of these guys are mad talented as well, and if any of you are watching, man, I hope you're still sticking to the beats and the raps, because man, we had so many talented people coming through those doors. But again, they were just a product of their society. Like me growing up, like I could have took two paths, and luckily I chose, well, I kind of fell down the right one, I guess, albeit that a bumpy road, but that was one of the other programs we've done, which was really fulfilling as well. And then more recently, it was last year that we started doing the thing down here in London. At the time, I hadn't been working with the school for quite some time. I'd been doing my own thing, my Hustle Music project, which was the thing I started through the pandemic. So I was like running my own little internet school, and then the team from the school got in touch again, and Gordon, MC WizKid, who was head of the school at the time, he was like, I'd love to get you on board for this programme we're doing down in London, which was at the Haringey College over here in Tottenham, and it was to work with the people that were unemployed at the time, who were creatives and looking to get into the industry, because if you ever have been unemployed, you know what it's like. I started off my journey on the dole, signing on, going down every day going, I want to work, but I want to be in the music industry. They're like, get a job, you lazy bum. I'm like, so I would do any course that I could to like keep getting my money so I could like stay in the studio and write my beats, yeah. And back then, I'd done like business enterprise courses, I'd done stuff to learn my taxes, I'd done a Prince's Trust thing. I managed to get about $8,000 worth of funding to get my business off the ground. But in terms of like courses like we've got now at the school, at the college just up the road, there was nothing like that back then, especially tied in towards the job centre also. So through the Mayor of London's funding, I think it is, and the college itself and the DWP, the people at the school, Gordon especially, and the team, Lisa and Deborah, and that, they come up with it, had to condense this 16-week course like into 2 weeks, which was like really difficult to do. I mean, they pulled it off, which was, I came in once it was done, so I just had to like step in and do my thing, which was was kind of not hard, but I was coming into something completely fresh. I didn't know what it was going to be like. You were one of I think you were maybe the second cohort that I was involved in, maybe.
All I know, I was there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What was obviously my.
What month was it you were on? Can you remember?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it's coming up to nearly a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nearly a year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was more. I think it was in about September, October. It maybe started, and
It was good, man. It was so good, man. I wish it was a bit longer.
yeah, everybody says they wish it was longer. We're on the current course. We're on the second last day, so I'm just down the road from the college just now. Doing the podcast, and yeah. So I was kind of the helping deliver the content, and then Gordon left the school. The course stopped for a while. I'm trying to remember how many months. It was quite a good few months, but then it came back online again. I can't remember. There's all sorts of things like funding issues. There's so many moving parts. You're working with like literally teams and teams of people. There's all and I got asked to take on the role of head tutor. The head of content delivery is my official title. And at first I was dubious because I'm like, yeah, it's a pay rise, but it's all this admin and they tell me the amount of people I have to deal with, like all these email chains and WhatsApp groups, and man, yeah, like I've never been the most organised person in the world, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, but then again, it's about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. I'm like, so what, I'll give it a go. Let's see how it goes. So there was a couple of provisos when I went in. I said, I want to make sure that if I do this, that I can bring in my own team of people, or at least I can vet the people that I work with, which they very kindly agreed to. And also that I wanted to be able to kind of rework the program, because although the program was really cool, I just thought, as a from my perspective, if I was going to be running it, I wanted it to run in a way that I could deliver it the best to my abilities, and also a way that I thought, for me personally, that the students could learn from. Because I think that one thing, we kind of had it all a bit mixed up, and I understand why, because it was like, let's keep things different. So, every subject we teach is there's something different the next hour, and then it's something different, so it's not boring. And you try to keep people engaged. It's difficult. Especially get a big group of people, and they're all signing on. Yeah, but I wanted to make it more of a kind of a journey where you're like, one subject matter ties into the next one, which ties into the next one, and if you learn that one, then the next one makes sense, and then so on and so forth. So I redone the whole timetable, and this is, I think, this is my third cohort that I've done. Kept some of the subject matter in there, but just like moved it all around, put my own twist on it. Also the people that I brought in, Alex Prospect's one of them I mentioned, DJ Dougal, Paul Clark, absolute legend in the hardcore rave scene. Also Mark Dean from Northampton, who's been involved in the school from way back when, but he's someone that I worked with closely and wanted him to be involved. He was there today. He runs Inspiration FM radio station in Northampton. He's worked for the BBC. I had my friend Richie Thrower down, who's started his own video editing business and done really well on that side of things. So I'm bringing people in from all these different walks of life, and have all got their own stories to tell.
I know them as well.
And I know them as well, yeah. So I'm getting to choose who I work with. I'm working with my friends, which is cool as hell. Plus they're all real cool, driven people who understand how the thing works and what we're trying to achieve. And they're all in similar places in their life where they're like, yeah, it's time to give us something back. And everybody that's came and done it is absolutely loved it. And it's a joy. Like I don't feel like it's a job. I mean, it's, you're getting up early to come down to London, sometimes get up at 6 a.m, had a few hours sleep, get the train down, it's absolutely packed. I've got my 2 big bags that I'm carrying, I've got my Bluetooth speaker, I've got my small deck set up, I've got my MIDI keyboards, I've got, my laptop, all my bits and pieces. Don't rob me when I'm walking out the street. I'm lying in this empty bags, there's no tools left in this bag overnight. So
they wouldn't dare.
Yeah. Don't mess with the Scottish.
Trust me.
I'll set my local boys on you.
We're outside. They know what time it is. We're outside.
It's super rewarding, and getting to meet you and what were you like. One of the things that I found with yourself is you differ from a lot of people on the course. There was like people who were so specific about what they wanted to do, and coming from a musical background, and even like Gordon at the time as well, being an MC, we had the people we had in the course with singers, MCs, music producers, DJs, all sorts. And then you were kind of law on your own. You were like, you were just. I remember we done the podcast day, and you were like, you just shone doing that, and how you speak to people. Like you've just got this aura about you that makes people want to open up. Like this conversation's been super easy. It's like, I mean, it's been a while since we've kept in touch over Instagram. But bump it, like walk through the door, and it's like it was like yesterday we hung out.
Yeah, like I say, you know, I love, first and foremost, like I say, I love meeting new people. But overall, like I say, like it's an energy thing, innit? Like if you meet like another great person, even if you just met them for the first time, it's like straight away, like let's catch a vibe. Yeah, like what do you do? This is what I do, and let's start a conversation, and from there let's start connecting in different ways, innit? So for me, honestly, like I say, like I think one of the biggest things as human beings in general, even like speaking about my personal growth, I feel like it's for me, like it's very important for me to continue doing this, you know, continue like connecting with different people, because I feel like through connecting with people like you and having these conversations is honestly like it's another way of growth. You get me? It's another way of growing, because even that with your wisdom, with your journey, you can teach me something. Even people don't know, like, you know, even you helping me out with this speaker, like I'm never gonna forget things like this. So it's like, yeah, man, this is all part of the journey. And I feel like, you know, sometimes when people say like in London people don't really like to, you know, like speak to different people. I've lived in London for most of my life, and for me, like every single time I hear it, I'm thinking, I can't relate. I'm thinking, how can you be a human being? Obviously, people, you're not gonna get on everybody or whatever, but how can you not want, you know, be excited to go out there and try to meet like-minded people and just talk and just try to create different things? So yeah, man, like it's been a beautiful conversation, and like I said, man, like God doesn't make any mistakes. I'm a God-fearing person, and I know like when I went on that course, like it was for a reason. Because look, I've met an incredible person, and again, even though I met all of these other people, but you're going to understand, some people they're gonna stick, you know, some people are gonna stay in your life, and some people are not, and I'm good with that. So yeah, man, this has been a beautiful conversation, Joey, and I just want to say, man, that this is one of the reasons why I continue pushing forward. You get me? Because I believe in, I'm not sure about you, but I believe in that signs, you know, God or the universe, like it sends you signs if you're on the right path or not. And even meeting people like you, it just reminds me like, no, you're doing the right thing. Like I said, like, you know, doing things here and there. Like I'm gonna keep on saying this, like you see this, like the mic that you got me, like I'm just thinking, fuck, you know, man, thank you so much. I was thinking about that, but again, it's like God sent you to be like, no, go help out that guy with a better speaker and give him a little bit more of a boost to continue moving forward. So nah, bro, I'm grateful. God bless you, and I just want to say thank you for everything, man. I really, really appreciate it, man. You know, like any last words, bro?
Yeah, thank you, man. Like
thank you, man.
whatever your motivation is, if it's God or science or universe, like I'll never judge anybody on what gets them over the line, because that's ultimately what it is. And if I was sent to you by a bit of higher power, well, big up for that. And if it was just me trundling down the road because we had built up a great relationship, then so be that also. I just think that what you're doing, and like from when you started out, and how you're continuing to just put out content consistently, and like you're you know, when we spoke at the start, you're taking on advice, you're looking to get ahead all the time. The amount of people that you're talking to from different walks of life, different disciplines, different backgrounds, different stories, how can you not grow? Doing that, you're putting yourself out to a array of people with different, you know, that's going to potentially change your way of looking at the world, exactly. And make you a better person for it.
A better human being, just in general. You get me? Like I said, man, I'm in this for life. I'm not in any rush to, I'm not in any rush to, like, you know, make any rush decisions. Like I said to you even earlier, there's certain people here and there when I get on board and do this and that, but like I feel like this is gonna get where it's meant to get at the right time. But for now, like I said, I'm always gonna repeat the same thing to conclude this conversation. For me, it's just first and foremost, before all of these things that are gonna grow around the platform, just about this, you know, this magic that we're having right now, just speaking to people and having a beautiful conversation, honestly. And I'm buzzing. You know when people say like, I've even smoked or drank, but I'm natural high. Right now, my head is like, honestly, awesome, like, proper cold, man. But yeah, man, this has been another good conversation, definitely worth the wait. And I want to say once again, thank you, Joey. You get me? I hope you enjoy your Christmas, and I hope you enjoy your New Year's Eve. You have a good time, you celebrate, you get me, like the year 2024 in style. And next year we definitely, you know, like at some point we'll catch up for part 2 and continue building forward, definitely, you know.
Let's do it. Big up to Reality Team TV. We'll see you in 2025, my friend. Bigger and better things all the way. Respect.
Respect people, yeah? Yeah, guys. Peace and love, guys, yeah? Over and out.